or the other thing that sort of stood out to a lot of people was the U.S. Navy is only buying one Virginia-class attack submarine this year. It's the first first Block 6 Virginia-class attack submarine. And usually that's a 2-year thing. So the submarine industrial base has probably caused more concern than any other sort of shipbuilding topic in the last couple of years. So you have the submarine industrial base as it stands, built between two shipyards. You have General Dynamics Electric Boat up in Groton, Connecticut, and then you have Newport News Shipbuilding by HII down in Newport News, Virginia. So the way that works and breaks down is the EB Electric Boat up in Connecticut, they build the barrel of the submarine, right? They build the central component, the central sort of hull of the submarine for both the Columbia class and then the Virginia class submarines. And then you have HII, and they build sort of the front ends, right? They build the bows, and then they build the sterns, and then they barge them back and forth between the 2 yards to assemble them together. And that's worked out pretty well so far. That was a teaming arrangement that was made back in the 2000s when the Virginia program got going, and it's worked out okay. Now, instead of delivering 2 submarines a year, and it was the Navy's most successful shipbuilding program for quite some time, but the fragility of the submarine base kind of was exposed, and some trends were accelerated by the lockdown and the pandemic, where you have a lot of older workers getting out of the game. You had supply issues. You had quality of life issues in certain yards for some people, and you saw a contraction of the workforce, you saw a contraction in the supplier base. And now all of a sudden, instead of delivering 2 submarines a year, you're delivering 1.3 submarines a year. And that is coming as the Australians are getting involved with nuclear submarines as part of the Australia-UK-US agreement. And in order to meet all of the obligations that the US needs to make into that agreement, they need to be building 2.33333 submarines a year. It's a lot of wind up. I promise this is going somewhere. So the not buying 2 submarines a year kind of raised a lot of eyebrows with some people. And I think the Secretary of the Navy, Carlos del Toro, would argue when they made this decision that, hey, the order books for HII and GD are stocked. We can go and take this submarine out of this plan right now because they have so much orders already stacked and they're so behind on already on their deliveries that we're going to put more resources into advanced procurement and then stabilizing the submarine industrial base. So as a part of the long range shipbuilding plan, you have about 17.5 billion-ish in submarine industrial base support. And we're trying to get some more specifics, but they really want to go and make sure that not only with new construction, but with like existing submarines, they can go and get after some of this maintenance stuff.
Got it. So that's, you mentioned 2.333, that's fast attack submarines. That's the aspiration for fast attack boats per year. And then add to that 1 Columbia class per year that are supposed to be coming online as well. So was there any change in the shipbuilding, the shipbuilding projection for 30 years or in the budget related to Columbia class?
No, we did report, however, so the Secretary of the Navy has just completed a 45-day shipbuilding review. Secretary Del Toro has been pretty tough on the shipyards right now. And so he took, with a brand new chief acquisition official in the Navy now, Secretary Girton, Nicholas Girton, who just was the Cape director. They did a 45-day shipbuilding review. It's like, well, we just need a status update on everything. So a lot of our questions around budget time were, you go, hey, wait for the 45-day review to come out. Well, one of the things that we found out was that the Columbia class submarine, which is not only the Navy, but the Pentagon's #1 acquisition priority, is late, and it's going to be late maybe by a year. And that is one of the things that the Navy and the Pentagon really did not want to happen, because the way that these deterrent patrols are constructed, the Columbia was going to come online heel to toe when the Henry M. Jackson, which is the first SSBN to get decommissioned comes out of inventory, and then the District of Columbia could slide right into that slot. Now that schedule is getting pushed a year, and the Navy's going to have to start asking some hard questions about how that's going to ripple through the rest of the submarine force. So that's the number one priority again for the Pentagon, is not only the Navy but the Pentagon, is to get that right. And so everybody's scrambling to try and figure that out. Based on our reporting, the two things that have come up are the bow assembly coming out of HII is taking some time, taking longer than they thought. So again, in this teaming arrangement with Electric Boat is building the central part of the submarine, including the missile tubes that are going to carry the Trident II D5 ballistic missiles. And then HII is responsible for building the stern portion, and then the bow. The stern just delivered in January. The bow is late. And it's a new type of construction, or it's not a new type of construction, but it's a new component build for HII, because it's essentially the old Ohio bow dome, but they never built the Ohio bow dome, so that's taking longer. The other component is the steam turbines that take the steam from the nuclear reactors and then turn it into energy for the rest of the ship is taking longer than they expected. And that's government furnished equipment. And so that's on the Navy to go and make sure that they can go and get that built and delivered in time, because there's, when you're building the barrel of the submarine, you need those pretty early to get those in there, because it's difficult to put those in, these massive pieces of hardware in a pretty tight construction configuration.
Fascinating and troubling, because I know that for the last, at least 3 CNOs in a row now, we've been hearing from Admiral Richardson and then Admiral Gilday and now Admiral Franchetti that the Columbia class is our number one priority, and it cannot slip. We cannot delay with this thing. So a year-long delay, as you said, puts all sorts of perturbations in ship schedules and things.